Started a little bit late because I had to send out a quick message, but I hope everybody is doing well. Please take a moment. If you're joining us, to jump in the chat, say hello, let me know what's going on and what it is you want to talk about. As always, the first hour is just waiting for the audience to show up. And then the second hour, or just chatting with people, I should say, whatever they want to talk when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts they have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And then the second hour is where we start to talk about our specific topics of the day as relates to Freemasonry. But today, hour number one, let's just see who joins. And as always, what do you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry? Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I would love to hear them. But that first thing is we have to just wait to see who joins. Jump in the chat, say hello, and let me know what do you want to talk about. Let me just jump in the chat here. All right. I'm having a great day today. We had a great Scottish Rite meeting last night, so that was a lot of fun. Last meeting before the summer for Rose Quad Scottish Rite here in Windsor. Oh, my computer needs to be updated, so I'll have to get on that at some point. In terms of news in the States, they did pass the big, beautiful bill, as they say. Once again, economy matters for Freemasonry, so I was thinking of touching on that a little bit. I was thinking, talking about Freemasonry in other parts of the world, maybe looking at Freemasonry in Germany and in Europe, because Germany keeps on popping up in the news, or at least in my trending tab. But for the first hour, just going to see who joins us. Welcome. Please say hello. Jump in the chat. Let me know what you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry? Positive, negative, or neutral? I would love to hear it. Also, once again, it was a great trip yesterday, a great visit and great throne speech, I thought. I talked about how I think that throne speech has some items in there that should be of relevance to Freemasonry. So Lydia says hello. Ilya says hello. Hello to both of you. I hope you're both doing well. Let me know how it's going. We're here today to chat about Freemasonry. I do these streams every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, neutral, please let me know. I would love to talk to you about them and give you my views on it as a Freemason since 2007. It's been about 20 years. I do have many different thoughts, ways I think Freemasonry can be better, ways I think a Masonic career or Masonic life can be better, or Masonic experience can be better, as well as just thoughts on what's happening in Freemasonry in 2025. So please take a moment, jump in the chat, say hello. As I was saying, the purpose of Scoring Comes Promotions is to explore the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it is located. as always, please, if you are just joining us, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know how your day is going. Positive, negative, or neutral, your thoughts on Freemasonry once again. For this first hour, second hour, it is going to be talking about, again, I think I might talk about Freemasonry in Germany a little bit because there's some interesting things there. Once again, we did have the speech from the throne, ways I think Freemasons can be impacted by it. I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about that as well. So there's a lot of different things worth talking about, things that are going on. The big, beautiful bill, as they say in the States. And once again, Freemasonry is impacted by the economic conditions of the countries in which lodges are located. So I think it's worth exploring that a little bit. But that is all for hour number 2. For hour number 1, let's just see who joins. And as always, what do you want to talk about? As Cody Rhodes says, what do you want to talk about? Any thoughts, any comments on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. But I'm just going to give it a bit more time and see once again who joins us. And what it is that they want to talk about. By the way, if you're like me and you love scary movies, I just watched Smile 2. It's actually a pretty great horror movie. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very scary. So, which I appreciate, right? That's the whole point of scary movies. They got to be scary. Give it a bit of time. We'll see who joins us. Once again, this is the Square and Compass Promotions live stream. Do this every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern or approximately 1 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about Freemasonry. Any thoughts people have, any comments, I would love to hear them. Give it a bit of time. I'm going to see who joins, who finds their stream. As always, we're here chatting about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral on Freemasonry, please let me know. I will do my best to try to answer them based on my being a Mason for 20 years. Everything I say, obviously, is my own views. Yes, Marble said hi. Hello, yes, Marble. Yaz Marble. I hope you're doing well. Let me know in the chat how it's going. I hope you will be so kind as hit the like and subscribe button. We're here talking about Freemasonry. So I'm just waiting. This is kind of an Ask Us Anything stream right now. So any questions, comments, thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know. I don't know what that means. Let me actually Google Translate that. I'm curious. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. And as I said, I hope you will be so kind as to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. By the way, if you, like me, love scary anything, check out Ryan. Welcome. How's it going? I hope you had a good morning. I don't know if you were at Coffee Club this morning, but if you were, I hope you had a good one. But I hope that you're doing well. Please take a moment, Ryan, hit that like and subscribe button. I wasn't in a coffee club either, so no worries at all. Sleeping in is okay. I slept in actually as well this morning a little bit. I was even late with this stream today, so. But I do hope you will, if you get the chance, take a moment to hit that like button. Let me know how it's going. I know we're about 1 week away from the fish fry, if that, so which should be a lot of fun. What is your WM, WP? I don't know what WPM type speed means. Is that like 180p, 780p? Is it not coming through well right now for you, like the stream? Oh, typing words per minute. I feel like it's pretty good. I don't know, actually, I've never tested it before, but I feel like it's pretty quick at this point. I've been typing for so long, right? Do I like guinea pig? Asks the basic artist. Well, I like audience members who like and subscribe, first of all. Second, I mean, I don't know, I suppose. I had a friend who loved guinea pigs. He had like them as pets. So, I mean, I was okay with them. I don't know. No opinion one way or the other. Well, it's full with the love of Freemasonry, the basic artist. It's full with the love of Freemasonry. So there's that. But yeah, I can't even remember the guinea pigs' names now. But here's that's my roommate. So I had guinea pigs as a pet for like 5 minutes. Not so much me, but like him. I mean, they're cool. Do you have any guinea pigs as pets? And if so, what are their names? which is, I assume you mean, what is Freemasonry? Freemasonry is a fraternal organization, as well as it's got the sorority side of it as well. It is a group, it is a social group which evolved from stonemason guilds in medieval Europe. And I've been a member of a Masonic lodge since 2007, which is crazy to think it's been that long, almost 20 years. But thank you everybody for joining once again. I hope you are doing well. Please take a moment. Hit that like button. Basic Artists, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. What are their names? Your 5 guinea pigs. Right now, I mean, we talk about Freemasonry on this channel, but right now I'm just waiting to see who else will join and what it is that they want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. I'm sure there's probably some interesting Masonic connection between like Freemasonry and guinea pigs. Who knows? There's connection between all that stuff somewhere. Well, we do private stuff. I'm not a big fan of the term secret because I find secret has connotations for some people. We do private things, right? The private nature of the ceremonies. Right? The reason being, the way I always describe it to people is if you have like a family recipe that gets passed down from generation to generation, you're going to keep that as a recipe private between you and your other family members. You're not going to share it on the internet, for example. The reason being, it's something important for you to pass down. In the same way with Freemasonry, we have rings and stuff, and sometimes we have jewels, but what we really have to pass down from generation to generation, ultimately, is our ritual. So it's important to keep that stuff private in order to maintain the bonds between our brotherhood. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day to you as well. We're getting over the hump. I hope that you are doing well. Please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button to everybody watching, and let me know how your Wednesday is going. Those are good names for guinea pigs, by the way, from Basic Artist. It's a really good question, Basic Artist. I'll have to think about that for a second. What is the best knowledge someone from the group has given to you that you carry with every day? Do you mean the group on YouTube, or do you mean Masonic group? Because the best bit of Masonic teaching that I've got, and I've talked about this before, is the value and really the necessity of temperance. And why that is so important to have temperance. In life, and to ensure that when things are going well, you don't get too presumptuous, and when things are going badly, you don't get too despondent, but you try to remain in life in a member of, despondent. The value of travel, which is something that Freemasonry taught me, both for Freemasons and non-Freemasons, just how important it is to travel in general. Not lately, Spirit, but I do have some stuff coming up probably in the summer, so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be nice to get back to it once again. But I would say, yeah, the value of temperance has to be up there somewhere. But let me know how you are doing, if there's anything you want to chat about when it comes to Freemasonry. Oh, my pops just sent me, let's see what he just sent me. Might be worth maybe sharing it. 2025 conference videos. I'm wondering if this is from, May 2nd to 4th, Indianapolis. That's very cool. My dad just sent me something which I will check out for sure. Please, by the way, if you're just joining us, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and what it is that you guys want to talk about. It is not a religious group. To be a Freemason, you must believe in a supreme being, but the nature of that supreme being is between you and, what you believe. So we have Freemasons who are Christian and all the different denominations of Christian, as well as Muslim, as well as Jewish, as well as Hindu, as well as Sikh. Indigenous peoples or First Nations. So yeah. That is something that I think is really cool about Freemasonry. One of the things I love about it the most is the fact that um, we in Freemasonry are able to um, that we in Freemasonry welcome men of all faiths. I think that's a really wonderful thing, and women. There's Order of Women Freemasons. I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it is one of the things that separates Freemasonry from many other organizations, and in many ways, I think makes it a organization that is necessary and valuable for really the future of people, the future of society, pluralism, all that good jazz, all that good stuff that we talk about that is so necessary. Democracy, pluralism. I think Freemasonry is at the cutting edge of those things. Please, as always, if you are just joining us, jump in the chat, say hello, hit the like and subscribe button. It would be truly appreciated. I have actually some content coming out tonight at 6 p.m. talking about John Gavin, the very first master of Windsor Lodge number 403, which is my mother lodge. Thank you, Basic Artist. I truly appreciate that. You're gonna hear me say please like and subscribe a lot. I just get used to saying it because people will jump in and out of the stream, and so if they're just in for a few minutes, I want to make sure I mention the call to action of like and subscribe, just so I catch them. So it's not just you specifically, but I do appreciate you being here. I do appreciate you asking me these questions. By all means, keep asking questions about Freemasonry. I will do my best to try to answer them. Once again, I've been a Mason for about 20 years, which is crazy to think how long it's been. So I can't say I know everything, but yes, Spirit. Mother Lodge means where I was initiated. I think that's a fairly common term in Canada anyways, the Mother Lodge. I don't know if that term is used everywhere, but because you have your Mother Lodge and then you have your affiliated lodges, right? And so for me, the Mother Lodge, is Windsor Lodge 403, and then I'm a member of 4 lodges by affiliation, which is pretty cool also. Sometimes you affiliate with lodges because you have friends there. Sometimes you affiliate with lodges because you want to support, them financially and see them keep going. Like there's a lot of different reasons why you can affiliate with lodges. Sometimes for the novelty of it, if it's an interesting lodge or they have some interesting characteristic. Yeah, so Mother Lodge is lodge to which you're initiated. So we don't have a uniform. We have aprons. And oh shoot, I should have shared the screen. If you actually were to type in, let me just type in. So some Masonic lodges, like my Masonic Lodge, Basic Artist, we have a dress code, which is usually a suit and tie. On a degree night where we're bringing in a new Mason, we might be wearing tuxedos. Some lodges don't have that, and people show up in shirt and jeans. But then also Freemasons have what are called aprons, and the aprons look different depending on where you're at. They look different in Ontario than they do in Texas, for example, than they do in Michigan. And oftentimes these come with collars. So like that's what it might look like. So if somebody wearing it, that's what it looks like there, if you can see that. And then you see the jewels that people have as well, which is can be part of the Masonic, if you want to call it uniform, where people wear stuff like that to go to reflect their Masonic history. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff like that out there. But apron would be like the standard Masonic accompaniment, for lack of a better term. Well, I mean, that's also might be again like jurisdiction wise. Yeah, York. Right. I mean, in the States, I know I do believe some jurisdictions do now have I'm trying to think of what it's called, dress codes in different parts of the states, in York Rite and Scottish Rite as well, but it's much more relaxed. Certainly, I would say than emulation ritual, which you do see a lot more. You do see a lot more dress codes. Certainly in UGLE, for example, an emulation ritual. Are you a Man United fan? Well, Ibrahim, it is not raining over here, so it's looks like it might be close. I mean, I'm honestly not a soccer slash football fan. My pops is from the old country. He's from England, so I suppose you'd think I would be more of a fan than I am. I'm a fan of, wrestling. I love, I used to like football a fair bit, but mostly what I love to talk about is Freemasonry. So, Ibrahim, I hope you will hit the like and subscribe button. I hope you will let me know if you have any questions about Freemasonry. What is Freemasonry? Heard about it before? Yeah, Freemasonry is one of those things where a lot of people have heard about it, um, but they don't necessarily know what it is just because Freemasonry has been so ubiquitous. Freemasonry is an umbrella term for groups and organizations. Many of them are fraternities and male exclusive, but there are female groups and female exclusive groups as well. But is an umbrella term for groups that originated or evolved from stonemason guilds in the Middle Ages, and in 2025 are again fraternal or sororal organizations, or civic organizations, or social clubs. And the way that these different groups interact with each other is through something called recognition and regularity, which is what allows me as a Mason in Ontario and part of one of these groups to go and visit, let's say, Texas and sit in one of their Masonic Lodge meetings because we recognize each other is the term. But at its core, it's a social group, it's a civic society, which evolved from stonemason guilds in the Middle Ages. Ibrahim, I hope that made sense. Let me know if it did. Um, and let me know, by the way, if you're a Man United fan. I'm assuming you are. It's not a religion. A lot of people think it is. To be a Freemason, you need to believe in a supreme being, but what that supreme being is between you and your beliefs. So, for example, we have Christian Freemasons of every denomination: Catholic, Protestant, Anglican. We also have Muslim brothers, we have Jewish brothers, we have First Nations or Indigenous peoples brothers, we have Wiccan. I know a couple of those. Um, and then we have those who don't profess any faith tradition at all, but rather would just argue that they are, spiritual as opposed to religious. But they still believe in a supreme being of some sort. By the way, Ibrahim, as always, thank you for being here. Keep asking questions. I love to get questions. And if you could hit the like and subscribe button, I would truly, truly appreciate it. give it a bit of time. We'll see who else joins. This first hour is just us chatting, seeing who joins. The second hour we tend to have more specific subjects and specific talking points. So we'll see what the the audience that joins. We're just giving it a bit of time. We're seeing who else joins the chat and what they want to talk about. By the way, I was thinking once again of talking about the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill. And again, what that might mean for the economy, and based on that, more in terms of how that might affect Freemasonry, because that kind of, to me, is the key, right? It's about what will affect Freemasonry, how things will affect Freemasonry, more in general, maybe how things will affect civic culture. But that's the second hour. First hour, we're just going to wait to see who finds us and what it is, as always, that they want to talk about. And don't forget to tune in tonight at 6 p.m. on the channel. We have a new episode being released, a new short being released, actually, talking about the first master of Windsor Lodge 403, Davignon. Apparently, the Tate brothers were charged with sexual misconduct. I don't think you can say that word on YouTube. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, jump in the chat, say hello. Let me know how you're doing. We're here to chat about Freemasonry. So any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I would love to hear it. James Webb Telescope captures deep view of ancient galaxies. That might be kind of fun to talk about as well. As someone who's done interviews about the James Webb Telescope, I think that might be really cool to share. Trying to share this actually article, which is proving a challenge at the moment. Oh, there it is. Nope, I want to do that. Please take a moment if you're just joining us to hit that like and subscribe button. Jump in the chat, say hello. Let me know how it's going and what you want to talk about. Pahadi says, hello, handsome. Always nice to get complimented. I like to think I'm a handsome fella. At least my mom always thought I was. Thank you for being here, Pahadi. I hope that you are doing well. I hope you'll hit that like button. I hope you'll let me know how it's going. And if there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts you have, any comments, or really anything else you want to talk about, we're just going to wait to see if we get, more of an audience showing up. I do have an episode being released tonight at 6 p.m., a Wednesday information video or Wednesday information short talking about the first the first worshipful master of Windsor Lodge number 403, that being John Davignon. By the way, on a completely unrelated note to Freemasonry, just going to let people know I did watch Smile 2 yesterday. It was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So if you, like me, love horror movies, please, check that out. It's really good. Just talking about Square and Compass, is talking about Freemasonry. Again, the purpose of Square and Compass Promotions is to explore the many ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as talking about stories that are of interest to a Mason or interest to Freemasons. So let me know in the chat if you have any question with that. Anything you want to talk about? Interestingly enough, another thing I was thinking of talking about is James Webb Telescope capturing deep view of ancient galaxies. The reason being, Freemasonry should care about geometry, science, technology, the liberal arts, and certainly the exploration of the universe is part of that. So I did share that story on social media already. No worries. Your English is, I speak one language, English, and I speak two languages, English and bad English. So the fact that you're able to type out English as well as you are is very impressive. Let me see what that says. Maybe I use the Google. Oh. You do write well in English. You write very well in English. So nothing but respect. Again, if it's a second language, and I know how hard it must be to have to learn a second language. So I think all the respect in the world for being able to do that, whether it's speaking it or writing it or both, it's still very, very hard. And so nothing but respect. Welcome. If you're just joining us, thank you for being here. I hope you will take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Jump in the chat, say hello, and let me know what you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. I'll have another episode, another thing being released tonight, a short being released tonight at 6 p.m. So I'll look forward to sharing that with everybody. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. But that is for hour number, hour number 2 is when I'll start talking about specific topics. I think this first hour, it's always just waiting to see who joins and what they want to talk about. It might be kind of fun to also try streaming on some other platforms after this, but welcome. Thank you for being here. Scoring Comments Promotions, chatting about Freemasonry. We do this every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Today we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be talking about is the James Webb Telescope. And I know a lot of conspiracy theorists like to link Freemasonry to space travel, which it's not linked, except in that we as Freemasons should care about lifelong learning as well as geometry and geometric principles in honor of our stonemason roots, geometry being very important to them. And geometric principles are what space exploration really is about in 2025. Certainly the general theory of relativity, combining space exploration or kind of reimagining geometry in a gravitational context, as well as the Euclid space mission, but even the James Webb Telescope. So These are part of the liberal arts and sciences. This is astronomy, this is geometry, and it's worth exploring. I also thought I might talk about the big, beautiful bill a little bit, and more particularly, why Freemasons should care about it, and maybe a little bit about Freemasonry in Germany, excuse me, because I want to try to talk about Freemasonry in other areas of the world, outside of North America, where I'm most familiar with it. Just got back from the computer repair shop. 5-minute fix costs nothing. I have to push. Hey, at least it costs nothing, right? So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, that it costs nothing. So there you go. So it's a good day for you. So you can be proud of that fact. Sometimes those buttons can be challenging when it comes to knowing which one to press, in fairness. But I hope that you are doing well. I hope everybody watching this is doing well. And I hope you're having a great Wednesday, a great, we're almost there, a great hump day. So let's give it, as always, another 15 minutes or so, and then I'll start on the main topics of discussion. But for the next, 10, 15 minutes, we'll wait to see if anybody else jumps in the chat and wants to say hello or anything they want to talk about. And don't forget, I have my Patreon discount offer right now, 10% off if you join Patreon at any tier level. I'll be talking more about that probably tonight as well. Maybe release another video about that also. Yeah, if you go to enough websites, cookies add up on your computer, and then it kind of slows it down. What did you think of the throne speech? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was good, not good, Dad? What were your thoughts? What do you think of the visit in general? I thought it went very well. So, normally for me, the only cookies I like are the ones I can eat, but it's a whole other can of tuna right there. Just waiting to see who else may be joining us before I start talking about the specific topics. And again, when it comes to Freemasonry, I sometimes with these topics try to talk about more what's happening in the world outside of Freemasonry, because what's happening in the world outside of Freemasonry will absolutely impact what is happening within Freemasonry and within our lodges. I thought it was good. We'll find out more today as the PM he is. So we shall see. I thought it was a pretty good speech as well. I liked it. I kind of reacted to it a little bit online. And again, all the ways in which I think, all the things from the speech that I think Freemasons should pay attention to. In some cases, things I think worthy of imitation or aspirational. And in other cases, things that I think will just affect Freemasonry and worth considering. Christopher Bristol is back. What is up? What's up with you? How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about a few different things. I was going to talk about Freemasonry as always, but I was going to talk about the big, beautiful bill it's funny, I'm in Windsor, so to my north/to my south America, the American Big Beautiful Bill, which isn't passed the Senate yet, but nonetheless, I think the economics of it are worth considering, again, as to what it will mean for Freemasons and Freemasonry, because as goes an economic situation, so goes Masonic, membership and all of that type of stuff, as well as maybe talking a little bit of the James Webb Telescope, geometry, and maybe even Freemasonry in Germany a little bit, but I'm not sure about that last one. Well, yeah, it's funny because a lot of people are making that joke when they say big, beautiful bill. Sometimes people think BBW, sometimes think BBL, and that definitely means, you maybe want to erase your browser history. Because if that's what's on your mind, there may be some issues. There may be some issues. I'm not judging anybody, by the way. Whatever you're looking up online, if you have BBW in your search engine, what can I say? To each their own. But this is BBB, Big Beautiful Bill. This is a you do you zone. But I hope everybody watching this is doing well. And as always, I do hope you will. If you have not done so yet, jump in the chat, say hello, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But I hope everybody is having a good day. A happy hump day. Wednesday, getting over that hump, halfway through to the weekend. But welcome. Thank you for being here. I do these streams every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, talking about Freemasonry. Again, I do have my episode being released, another short being released at 6 p.m. tonight. So I hope you guys will check that out as well. And thank you, everybody, though, who has joined so far. And I was thinking, honestly, of doing another stream tonight, maybe even on Twitch. Just try something different. Again, something new. I think we as Freemasonry need to not be afraid to try something new. That is true. That is very true. Not everybody works on Monday to Friday. Some people work shift work. Some people have rotating weekends on or off, or whatever it might be. I know I once read this book where it was talking about workers in Las Vegas, and people would always ask them, when is your Monday? Because the way it works there in Vegas, I guess, at the casinos and stuff, is it's like, 7 days on, 2 days off, but it always kind of changes. So the start of their work week might be Wednesday, and they might work, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then their weekend is Monday, Tuesday, which honestly I would not mind. One of the biggest challenges I always had, and everybody has this, isn't specific to me, is when I was working Monday to Friday. If you had to do like a banking appointment or had to do something official, you had to take time off of work to do it because otherwise you had to wait till the weekend, and you know nothing's open on the weekends. So that was always a pain in the butt. So I would almost prefer, a Monday, Tuesday weekend, just to make it easier for make it easier for me to get the things done, at least back in the day. So that was always kind of one of my complaints. But yeah, that is true. So whatever part of the week this is for you, I still nonetheless hope you are having a very good and very enjoyable weekend, or a very good and very enjoyable day. And whatever your weekend is, I hope you have a very good and very enjoyable weekend. Welcome. I hope you are doing well. Please take a moment if you're just joining, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there's anything that you want to chat about, positive, negative, or neutral on Freemasonry. I'm going to give it another 3 minutes and then we'll start talking about kind of these specific topics. My work at sea was 4 hours on, 4 hours off, 7 days. For every 2 days worked, 1 day leave due. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people have work schedules like that as well. Even a lot of people, one thing I always try to do when I get the chance is talk about when I say like happy whatever it might be, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, or Happy Memorial Day, or Happy Victoria Day, or whatever it is. I always try to remember that there are people who have to work on those days. When I worked in the jail, right, correctional officers had to work those days. Paramedics, nurses, doctors, all of those cats had to work those days. And so I do always try to, say happy Victoria Day and enjoy it, but also to all of those people who are working this day, thank you for working on this day to allow us to take the day off, right? Because, the only reason we're allowed to enjoy, one of the reasons we're allowed to enjoy our days off, or able to enjoy our days off, is because we know we have paramedics, doctors, nurses on call and ready if we need help. And police officers and firefighters and all those first responders who are, kind of keep everything running for us. Work 6 months, 3 months leave. I mean, I feel like I'm sure it was a very hard job, but I'm also sure it was a very enjoyable job as well at the same time. my gosh, I've been saying Freemasons need to learn how to do CPR. There's a free CPR course in Toronto. I can't find any in Windsor to save my life, but welcome. I hope everybody is doing well. Please take a moment to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Let me know how it's going. If there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, I guess I might as well start the main subject today, the big, beautiful bill. Actually, maybe that would be worth doing a poll question. Do you support the occultist is back. Thank you for being back. Once again, I hope that you are doing well as always, and thank you for being here. All right. Doing all right, man. Slowly but surely is good. Slowly but surely is good. Interesting. 2 votes, both being unsure. You know, honestly, sometimes unsure is the best answer. So this is from the Financial Post, published May 27th, 2025. The United States House of Representatives last week, so the House, but not the Senate, passed Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a voluminous and complex piece of proposed legislation that contains numerous tax amendments that could end up hurting Canadian pension plans and other investors. The act includes things such as making permanent certain personal tax rate reductions, which were set to expire year-end, a permanent estate tax exemption of US $15 million annually indexed to inflation thereafter, tax exemptions on tips and overtime pay, increases to state and local tax deductions, and a variety of business tax proposals, including immediate expensing for certain capital assets. Section 899 of the bill introduces retaliatory measures targeting foreign individuals. Canadians would include in that entities and governments that impose what the U.S. deems unfair foreign taxes, such as the digital services tax or global minimum tax. If enacted, it would override existing tax treaties and impose significantly higher U.S. tax rates, ranging from 5% to 30%, on passive income, real property gains, and business profits for affected foreign investors. For countries such as Canada, the implications could be severe if they fall within Washington's definitions of discriminatory foreign country or quote-unquote bad country. Right. It would not be a surprise if the U.S. targeted Canada. This is according to the article. The negative fallout for Canadians would be tremendous if these new tax policies went into place. For example, Canadian individuals and entities, corporations, trust partnerships could face increased U.S. withholding tax rates of up to 30% or more on U.S.-sourced dividends, interest, rents, royalties, and capital gains on real estate. I wouldn't say I don't agree with anything. There are some things I agree with, but they're in the minority. And even the things he does that I do agree with, overall, I think he's just seems like a very bad human being. And because of that, I'm not a big fan of supporting him. It's one of those things where, a stopped clock can be right twice a day, or will be right twice a day, but that doesn't mean overall there's anything there. Right, for me, again, going back to one of the things I kind of, probably people are getting sick of me saying, but nonetheless, I always repeat, you cannot separate what is happening in the world from what's happening in Freemasonry, or the success of a Masonic lodge. Um, the success of a Masonic lodge is dependent on the success of the communities in which it's located. That includes the economic success, as well as social success, as well as, um, kind of whether crime's up, crime's down, whether the economy is good, the economy's bad. All of that stuff affects the ability of a Masonic lodge to be successful, defining success as increasing membership and increasing member engagement. Welcome, John Mitch, who is new. Lewis Travis, I disliked. No, well, so John Mitch, welcome. Thank you for being here, and Lewis Travis as well. So this is Square and Compass Promotions. We talk about Freemasonry, the purpose of, Freemasonry, and explore the ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to communities in which it's located, as well as stories of Masonic interest. However, as I've said a bunch of times on the channel, you cannot separate the success of a Masonic lodge or a Masonic body from the success of the communities in which it's located. And that can include economic success, social success, pick your ways. And so I think we as Freemasons need to be paying attention to what's happening politically, because it's going to affect our lodges, right? If you look at every time there's been, things been going well in Freemasonry, it's corresponded to economic, periods of economic success and growth. And likewise, anything that is times when Freemasonry is struggling a little bit, it's corresponded, amongst other things, to times of economic challenges and hardship. So you need to pay attention to economic conditions, as well as social conditions, etc., etc. Hence, talking about the big, beautiful bill a little bit. But John Mitch, I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions in general, like what is Freemasonry, how does it work, I would love to get your questions. And I do hope, John Mitch and Lewis Travis as well, when you say you disliked, I hope you don't mean you disliked the stream. I hope you will hit the like and subscribe buttons on this channel. I would truly appreciate it. And John Mitch, it's wonderful to have somebody new on the stream. Thank you for being here. So this is from ABC News, officially titled One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This meaningful bill fulfills a laundry list of President Donald Trump's campaign promises, from taxes to border security. As House Republicans continue to negotiate the final details of the legislation, here's a look at some possible ways the bill could affect everyday Americans, according to recent estimates. Keep in mind, the Senate is likely to significantly change this bill, and nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office continues to review legislation. Potential impacts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. More than an estimated 8 million recipients could lose Medicaid coverage. According to CBO analysis requested by House Democrats, Republicans say they're targeting able-bodied adults and undocumented immigrants, but other beneficiaries could also be impacted, which of course I think is an obvious statement. It's one of those things where it's always easy to say in making any type of cuts that you are targeting a specific group, but almost always you're going to run into situations where people you did not mean to target get caught up in and potentially, negatively affected. I mean, you're seeing that with the ICE raids, where people they weren't intending to target, citizens, are being targeted. So, it's very easy to say, there's this attitude of kind of move fast and break things, which, by the way, I don't think is a bad motto for, trying to solve problems in various circumstances. Move fast and break things, but what is being broken has to be considered, right? Like, if you cut somebody off their Medicaid coverage, accidentally, maybe, a month down the line you can put them back on, but what if in that month they need medical care, they need medical coverage, they need things that they're no longer able to acquire because of the cut that you made, right? Like, it's not, you have to be really careful when you're kind of playing with people's lives. But from a Masonic perspective, again, 8 million recipients losing their Medicaid coverage. If a percentage of those are Freemasons, now they're worrying about paying for their doctor's bills, paying for their medical bills. To what extent does that mean they're not able to dedicate funds to Freemasonry? Even if your dues and your assessments are, let's say, $150 a year, that might not sound like much, but if now you're struggling to pay for your medical bills, can that 150 cover the cost of, do you still have that 150 to spend on masonry? Or does that need to go to something that Medicaid would have covered? Or are now lodges finding themselves in a more difficult situation because they have to put out more benevolence? Are Masons going to be requesting benevolence funds in order to help cover the cost of, a brother or a member's medical needs? Cuts SNAP food assistance by roughly 230 billion over 10 years, narrowing participation in the program, servicing roughly 1 in 8 Americans each month. That's the same kind of point. To what extent are any Masons receiving SNAP food assistance? And if that is the case, to what extent will they need to cut back on Masonic expenses, dues, etc., to cover the new costs of food, or will Masons need to spend more money on their benevolence requests? Extends the 2017 Trump tax cuts, fulfills Trump's campaign promises of no tax on tips and no taxes on overtime work. So that kind of balances it out, maybe in some ways, puts a more positive spin. And again, will that mean Masons who work in the service industry or overtime industry now have more money to potentially dedicate to Freemasonry? Or, won't need to work as much, right? If you have no taxes on tips, maybe that means you're able to save more of your money on tips. You need to work less hours, you have more time to dedicate to Freemasonry. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, the occultist, and that again goes back to what I was saying. It's very easy to make a decision, we're going to target this group, but if you're not targeting carefully, if you're not targeting responsibly, if you're going into just moving fast and breaking things, to use a Silicon Valley quote, I mean, what is being broken? Who is being broken, right? It's kind of like when Elon Musk was saying, when he took over Doge, he's going to fire, he's not worried about firing the wrong people because he can always hire them back. It's like, well, what if first of all, it's people's lives. So this idea of we're going to fire you and then hire you back later, I mean, that's pretty stressful for the person being fired while they're waiting to be rehired. But also, depending on the work that they were doing, how valuable is it? And like there's example of Elon Musk firing a bunch of employees who were working on medical research to find cures for, I think it was Ebola or whatever it is. He said, like, we fired them, but we realized we made a mistake and we hired them back in like a month. Well, that's 1 month of research lost, right? If you think, as I do, time might be your most valuable commodity, you lost 1 month of time in that. And then on top of that, right, how motivated are those employees going to be to keep on working on this project if they know they could be fired at any moment, and they have that uncertainty hanging over their heads? So I understand the philosophy of it, and I'm not opposed to it. I personally think Freemasonry could use a lot more move fast and break things philosophy. It may be more the point I'm trying to make is it's the question of what direction are you moving in when you're moving fast and breaking things. To give you an example on the other side of it, I don't know if anybody on the stream has any thoughts of it. I personally am a big fan of a single payer medical system. I like the Canadian medical system a lot. I think the States would benefit from it personally. But somebody was saying, I saw an interview, I think it was with Ezra Klein, was talking and said, the challenge of a single payer medical system is You pass that in the States. Now, suddenly everybody has a greater access to medical care. They're more likely to go to the doctors more often. And that's going to put a massive strain on the medical system because we don't have sufficient number of doctors to handle increased demand. But that's an example of, move fast and breaking things the opposite way. Pass the bill. What I would say is we'll pass the bill and then we'll figure it out as we go. We'll hire the doctors we need. We'll hire the nurses we need. Maybe there will be some quote unquote breakage in the short term as, the demand increases. Maybe wait times will go up. Maybe there'll be problems, but at least you're moving fast in the right direction. And the things you're breaking are being broken in the right direction, as opposed to moving fast in the wrong way, like with Elon Musk, where, he's firing people and this and that don't need to be fired, that shouldn't be fired, that puts people's lives at risk, that may have actually cost people's lives, depending on what happened in Kentucky. And so it's like, I just think move fast and break things is a good motto. The question you have to ask is, to what direction are you moving? Doc, well, I'm very sorry. I'm happy that your mom caught you. Um, I'm incredibly sorry that you felt the need to self-harm. I hope that you will find whatever resources you need to find to feel better. I'm sure, I don't know where you're at or where you are from, but I'm sure that there are many resources you can contact or approach, 24-hour helplines. Maybe you just need to go see a doctor, maybe you need to go see somebody to talk about how you're feeling. I mean, Doc, I hope you don't mind if I just call you Doc. You shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. A lot of people go through periods where even people in my own family have gone through periods where they've either thought of or have harmed themselves. So having those mental health struggles is nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, being able to admit it, in anywhere, but even in a chat is something you should take pride in, because there's that old expression, which I agree with to some extent, right? We're only as sick as the secrets we keep. So being able to admit it and talk about it is a good thing. I am very happy, again, that your mom caught you to hopefully stop you from continuing it. At the same time, I am very sorry that you were self-harming and you felt the need to do that. And yeah, talk to somebody, find a therapist, call a crisis line, kind of whatever you need to do. And maybe in some ways you can be grateful that your mom caught you. So maybe that's the turning point to, maybe that can be the turning point to, motivate you to get the help that you need. I mean, I don't know what you're going through, but I know many people who have struggled with self-harm, sometimes up to and including suicidal ideation, depression, whatever it might be. But I'm sure that you have got a lot of things that are worth sticking around for. You're here, you can consider me, you got a lot of people in the chat, myself included, or at least myself. I know I never met you before. I know I'm just seeing you now, but I care about you and I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're here and that you're able to type these words. And that we can make contact. The fact I found this channel speaks volumes. God is real. I mean, I'm very happy you found this channel as well. I'm very happy that we get to talk. Certainly, I'm happy that you're part of the audience, right? Me as a Freemason, I believe in a supreme being. I believe in God. I'm not necessarily of any one particular religious faith, but I do believe there's a supreme being that cares about us. And certainly, maybe that is the case, right? Maybe the reason you found this channel is because, God wanted you to find this channel. But I hope, I hope and pray, no pun intended, that you don't rely exclusively on this channel. Once again, I hope that you also look for some type of, again, crisis line supports outside of Square and Compass promotions. Heck, maybe you need to, I mean, Freemasonry is a lot of different things, but maybe look into different groups that, you can join. Oftentimes, I don't know what your circumstances are, Doc, but oftentimes I find that people, when they are self-harming or thinking about self-harm, oftentimes they are very isolated and alone. So I hope that maybe you have found some support and friendship and look at different groups. I mean, civic societies, civic groups like Freemasonry can be one possible place to look, right? Being alone is not a good thing, and you're not alone. You had your mom found you, you've got me talking to you, but I wish for you nothing but the best in future, and I hope that you're able to deal with those self-harm thoughts, right? And then there's probably no easy answers to it. There's probably no easy solutions to it. I don't want to pretend like, oh, it's simple, but finding someone to talk to, again, might be a good first step, and maybe finding some groups you can join. Doesn't have to be Freemasonry. If you like football, maybe join a football league. I don't know, right? You are welcome, Doc. You're welcome. And I do appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have any questions about Freemasonry. That's kind of what I talk about on this stream. I've been a Mason since 2007. I do even know, though, some Masons who've self-harmed. So, nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something that happens to a lot of people. We'll give it a couple more minutes. And by the way, to everybody watching this, thank you so much for watching this. I truly appreciate you joining. I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe buttons. And we'll go from there. Going back to the big, beautiful bill, changes in Medicaid work requirements. Republicans say their main goal is reducing waste, fraud, and abuse within Medicaid, the healthcare program for lower-income Americans and those with disabilities, in order to achieve hundreds of billions of dollars in savings over the next decade. Early estimates requested by House Democrats put the number of people who could lose coverage at more than 8 million, but the numbers continue to fluctuate, and the Congressional Budget Office has not yet released its final score of the GOP bill, which is not even finalized itself. So, proposed Medicaid changes on the GOP bill, new work requirements on able-bodied Medicaid recipients 19 to 64 years old who don't have dependents, which I'm not, in theory opposed to. It's just the application. States must conduct Medicaid eligibility redeterminations at least every 6 months for all recipients. Removes undocumented migrants. Again, this whole war on undocumented migrants, I do not like. Increases co-pays for Medicaid recipients who make more than the federal poverty limit. Increases required Medicaid paperwork to income and residency verification. The bill imposes new work requirements on able-bodied Medicaid recipients aged 19 to 64 who don't have dependents, which includes working at least 80 hours per month. The bill also requires states to conduct eligibility redeterminations at least every 6 months for all recipients. The legislation also removes undocumented migrants from Medicaid eligibility per the White House. This accounts for approximately 1.4 million undocumented migrants losing coverage provided through state Medicaid programs. Under the bill's current text, these work requirements don't kick in until 2029 as President Trump leaves office. But House Republican hardliners looking at moving that date of 2026. The bill also increases co-pays for Medicaid recipients who make more than the federal poverty limit. For singles, that's just over $15,500. They would be required to pay an extra $35 copay in some visit. It also increases the required Medicaid paperwork for income and residency verification as lawmakers look to crack down on people who are double dipping in multiple jurisdictions. So again, from a Masonic perspective, if you are a Freemason and you are on Medicaid, are you now at risk of losing your Medicaid? And if you are, does that affect either A, your ability to pay for other expenses that could be considered voluntary, such as Freemasonry? Does it mean that Freemasons may need to spend more on benevolence requests for those people who need more who require or need more medical expenses than what they can afford? Or does it mean that Masons may need to work more hours to cover the cost of medical debt and may not be able to attend, Masonic events or Masonic programs? SNAP cuts. The bill tightens eligibility requirements for the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, what used to be called food stamps, which helps roughly 42 million low-income people per month. Again, I have no clue how many Masons in the States would be on SNAP benefits or SNAP programs, right? But if any are, what does that mean in terms of your ability to still take part in Freemasonry if you now are, concerned about food costs? There is the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime pay, which may work the opposite. Give some Masons who work in the service industry, who work overtime, more money in their pocket, which may mean they're economically more stable and can dedicate more of their time to Freemasonry. And then there's the expanding the Trump tax cuts, makes tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent. That fiscal hawks complain at trillions of dollars deficit, which it does. Creation of MAGA savings accounts for children. The bill would create so-called MAGA savings accounts for their parents to open for children. Contribution for any limit has to be $5,000. It includes a pilot program to start accounts with $1,000. Raising the SALT cap. The current bill raises the deduction limit of state and local taxes from federal income filings from $10,000 to $30,000. More money for border security enforcement. So again, for me, the question is, will there be possibly a, to what extent will Masons who rely upon Medicaid or SNAP benefits, to what extent will they be affected negatively by the big beautiful bill if it passes the Senate, and therefore either A, forced to cut back on expenses as it relates to Freemasonry because they need to spend more on medical bills or medical debts or medications or whatever it might be under Medicaid. To what extent will Masonic lodges maybe be required to assist with benevolence for medical expenses if a brother is kicked off of Medicaid and needs the assistance? The other, I am still here. On the other, again, with the SNAP benefits, the same thing. I have no idea how many Masons themselves may require SNAP benefits, probably more than we think. But if they lose those benefits, what will that mean for benevolence requests to lodge? Also, what will that mean in terms of how much money the Mason has to dedicate to Freemasonry? And not just his dues, but Masonic events, Masonic subjects, like Masonic banquets, Masonic trips. Will they still be able to do that? On the other side, those Masons who are in the service industry, those Masons who are those Masons who are in the service industry, those Masons who are working overtime, they may have more money now at their disposal and more economic freedom to dedicate to Freemasonry. What's the story with the bare walls? I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't want to. I mean, it's an apartment. It's not mine, so I don't want to damage the walls by putting anything up. But also, I don't know. I don't feel the need to share. I'm happy keeping my walls bare. Why not? Be a minimalist, I guess. I don't want to say how much I pay on rent. What are you with the CRA? But it's all right. It's pretty reasonable, I think. Overall is what I'll say. But again, the economic situations matter. If brothers can't afford their rent, let's say, they're going to struggle when it comes to, covering other costs, including Masonic costs. I agree. I'm personally think America would benefit greatly from adopting the Canadian medical system, which has always treated me well, treated my mom well. I mean, to my mind, so not everything necessarily needs to be free, even in a single payer system. I can understand that, but into Masonic order, that makes more sense. I was like, my rent. On average, so I'm an exception because I'm a member of 5 lodges. So because I'm a member of 5 lodges, I pay dues in each of those lodges. So it's approximately $500 per year. But most people, when are a member of a single lodge, and the single lodge dues are going to be between 100 and 200 US per year. That's been my experience. But every lodge sets its own dues structure. So, for example, I know some lodges you have to pay $300 per year to be a Mason, and other lodges you have to pay $100 Canadian, which would be about $70 American per year, right? And so it's one of those situations where every lodge kind of sets its own dues. But for me, because I'm a member of 5 lodges, it's about $500. And again, it's one of those things where, John Smith in the States is on Medicaid. He's thinking of joining a second lodge, let's say, wants to affiliate with the second lodge to support that lodge, to give it a little bit of, benefit in terms of how much money the lodge is bringing in and help them out by being a new member. Maybe they can't now because, Medicaid, they don't have Medicaid or medical expenses anymore. So it's one of those things where as your medical expenses go up, your freedom in other areas goes down, right? Your freedom to join groups, your freedom to spend on things you are interested in, all of that goes significantly down. So I just think that stuff needs to be kept in mind. And, a lot of Masons would say, why worry about that? That's an economic situation. It matters, though. It matters. I hope that made sense. But yeah, basic art is about $500 per year. I hope everybody else is doing well. Let me know how you're doing. Please take a moment to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. European space. So I guess that's what I'm going to say for that one. Next, I want to talk about the James Webb Telescope. I did an article about the James Webb Telescope. By the way, basic artists, I just want to let you know if you're interested at all, and to anybody watching this, if you're interested at all, I have right now a discount on my Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/squareandcompass, patreon.com/squareandcompass, you can become a Patreon member. You can actually become one for free. Doesn't cost anything, but if you want to become one and pay, there are different tier levels. Using the code 23D69, and you can become a paid Patreon member at a 10% discount. So that would mean, as cheap as $270 USD per month. And you get access to certain benefits, and you get to support Square and Compass Promotions in its efforts to explore the ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as discuss the stories of Masonic interest. So I do very much hope you'll check that out. Patreon.com/squareandcompass. And, again, you can also just join for free. That's a great way to support the channel as well. And hit that like and subscribe button. Both of those are completely free to do also. But going back to ESA, European Space Agency, Webb glimpses distant past. The eye is first drawn in this new NASA, ESA, CSA, James Webb Space Telescope picture to the central mega monster that is galaxy cluster Abell S1063. This behemoth collection of galaxies lying about 4.5 billion light years from Earth in the constellation Grus dominates the scene. Looking more closely, this dense collection of heavy galaxies is surrounded by glowing streaks of light. These are warped arcs of the true objects of scientists' interest, faint galaxies from the universe's distant past. I'll actually share the picture of it if I can. It's on my computer screen right now. This is we're watching this on my mobile, but let me see if I can, oops. I don't know if you guys can see that. See it well. That is the newest galaxy discovered by the James Webb Space Telescope. It features strong gravitational lenses. So the gravitational lensing is actually something that Freemasons should care about based on our, instruction to care about geometry. The galaxy cluster is so massive that light of distant galaxies, a line behind it is bent around it. That's an example of geometry, right? The bending of light, the geometry of light, creating the warped arcs that we see here. Like a glass lens, it focuses the light from these faraway galaxies. The resulting images, albeit distorted, are both bright and magnified, enough to be observed and studied. This was the aim of Hubble's observations, using the galaxy cluster as a magnifying glass to investigate the early universe. The new imagery from Webb's near-infrared camera takes this quest even further back in time. But the further away you look, the further back in time you look. This image showcases an incredible forest of lensing arcs around Abel's S1063, which reveal distorted background galaxies at a range of cosmic distances, along with a multitude of faint galaxies and previously unseen features. This image is what is known as a deep field, a long exposure of a single area of the sky, collecting as much light as possible to draw out the most faint and distant galaxies that don't appear in any ordinary image. With 9 separate snapshots of different near-infrared wavelength of light, totaling around 120 hours of observing time and aided by the magnifying effect of gravitational lensing, this is Webb's deepest gaze on a single target to date, focusing such observing power on massive gravitational lenses like Abel S1063, therefore has the potential to reveal some of the very first galaxies formed in the early universe. So I do want to talk about, within that context, gravitational lensing. Right. And this is from the ESA Web website. By the way, 8 votes. Do you support Trump's big, beautiful bill? Interesting. We have 2 yeses, 1 no, and 62% unsure. And I hope everybody joining this hits the like button, hits the subscribe button, jumps into Patreon, supports me there. I would truly appreciate it, etc., etc., etc. As all the things you're supposed to say. I'm actually 1 Patreon member away from 50 Patreon members, so I'd love it if you guys support me there. Gravitational lensing occurs when a massive celestial body, such as a galaxy cluster, causes a sufficient curvature. There's that word curving, otherwise known as gravity, otherwise known as geometry, curvature of space-time for the path of light around it to be visibly bent, as if by a lens. The body causing the light to curve is accordingly called a gravitational lens. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, time and space are fused together in a quantity known as space-time. Within this theory, massive objects cause space-time to curve, and gravity is simply the curvature of space-time. As light travels through space-time, the theory predicts that the path taken by the light will also be curved by an object's mass. Gravitational lensing is a dramatic and observable example of Einstein's theory in action. Extremely massive celestial bodies, such as galaxy clusters, cause space-time to be significantly curved. In other words, they act as gravitational lenses. When light from a more distant light source passes by a gravitational lens, the path of light is curved, and a distorted image of the distant object, maybe a ring or halo of light around the gravitational lens, can be observed. An important consequence of this lensing distortion is magnification, allowing us to observe objects that would otherwise be too far away and too faint to be seen. Webb makes use of this magnification effect to study objects that would otherwise be beyond the sensitivity of its 6.5 meter diameter primary mirror, and has begun to show us the most distant galaxies humanity has ever encountered. Webb's images frequently showcase massive galaxy clusters that create strong gravitational lensing. The first scientific image of the telescope was a deep field unlike any that had been captured before, centered on a cluster surrounded by many long arcs. Webb was later able to catch a glimpse of a very distant fading supernova thanks to gravitational lens and the created three images of its host galaxy separated in time. So, congratulations to the James Webb Telescope on discovering the oldest galaxy it's ever discovered and the gravitational lensing surrounding the galaxy, which, again, gravitational lensing is a consequence of the curvature of space-time or otherwise the geometry of the universe. You know, one of the things I find super fascinating about this idea is we as Freemasons are taught to study geometry because it is a better way of understanding ourselves and the order of the world. NASA scientists are using geometry to better understand the universe and what that universe means, right? And I also think that there's a moral quality to that. I truly do. Like I've often said, and I still believe this to be the case, right? That if you look at, for example, Lincoln, the president, was a huge fan and studier of Euclid. And in the movie Lincoln, you see him using the Euclid axiom, the geometric axiom, to discover a moral principle, which he uses to guide his decisions around ending slavery. You know, I do believe that it's possible to study scientific principles to gain a scientific understanding of the universe through geometry and then find a way to apply that to our moral principles. I think we should do that. I think one of the goals of Freemasonry should 100% be to do that. I hope that we try our best to do that more often, to be perfectly honest. And it just helps you think, right? One of my favorite quotes, and I've used this quote a bunch. I don't know if anybody has seen the movie Dangerous Minds. Just for fun, I'm going to make that a poll question, just for fun. Have you watched the movie starring Michelle Pfeiffer? You know, the teacher, Michelle Pfeiffer, says, we're going to teach you poetry. And the students say, why do I need to learn poetry? And Michelle Pfeiffer says, well, it'll teach you how to think. And one of the students says, I already know how to think. And Michelle Pfeiffer, I think, has the best response to that. She says, that's true, and you already know how to run. But if you trained, you could run faster, right? And it's not that there's one particular method by which you can learn how to think, but poetry is one method. Learning about geometry is another method. Learning about any of the liberal arts and sciences is another method, right? And Freemasonry talks about this in its rituals, here in Emulation, certainly, where it says, like, as you increase in knowledge, you increase in social discourse, right? Now, it's not saying there's one particular type of knowledge. Well, actually, honestly, Freemasonry is. What Freemasonry is saying is, you know, geometry and the liberal arts and sciences, that type of knowledge will help you, you know, better learn how to think and better, therefore, be able to interact in the world with other people. But, you know, in my opinion, there's not one source. Like, you can increase your knowledge in cars. You can increase your knowledge in mechanics. You can increase your knowledge in the environment, poetry, whatever it is. All of that will help you think better. And I think Freemasonry is another avenue where, by increasing knowledge, by encouraging growth of knowledge, it helps you think better. And that's a really important thing. So this idea of why is it important to learn geometry? Well, learning geometry, learning something new helps you think better, and teaches you how to think. And you may say, I already know how to think, but if you practice, you could think better, right? And if you practice learning through the liberal arts and sciences, grammar, rhetoric, geometry, astronomy, you'll be able to think better and then apply those tools to practical questions, political questions. Lincoln using Euclid to guide his political understandings of slavery, right? All that stuff matters. All that stuff is really important. So, yeah, I think that you should that is kind of my soapbox moment of that, and why I think sometimes Freemasons are somewhat dropping the ball a little bit. When I say Freemasons, I would say our Masonic, actually I'd say our Masonic Grand Lodges, in not encouraging general education amongst our membership. You know, wouldn't it be amazing if we could have Masons have some type of, well, I mean, like we have Masonic scholarships for students. Sometimes they're Masons, more often they're family of Masons. Sometimes it's open to anybody. But you know, we could do more to grow that, the encouragement of education, in my oh so humble opinion. But thank you everybody who has been here. I truly appreciate it. I hope, as always, you will hit that like button, you'll hit that subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there's anything that you want to chat about. I think I'll hold off on Freemasonry in Germany for another day. I think I'm happy with the two topics we discussed so far. The Big Beautiful Bill, what it could mean for Masons, and the James Webb Space Telescope and gravitational lensing. So now we'll go back to the general part of the question and answer. So anything you want to talk about, just please let me know. And we'll give it, let's say, another 5-10 minutes or so. Maybe we'll go another 10 minutes. We'll do a 2-hour stream. And welcome. If you are just joining us, please, I hope you'll take a moment to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know how you're doing. If there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And let me know what you thought of today's stream. If you thought there were any good ideas in there, if it made you think about anything. We got 2 votes, 1 yes, 1 no. If you get the chance, you should. It's a great movie, in my oh so humble opinion. We'll give it another, let's say, 10 minutes. But thank you, everybody who's joined. Please, as always, take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm making some breakfast. Thank you so much. What are you having for breakfast? If you can answer, don't, for heaven's sakes, don't type and ignore your eggs. I don't want you to burn them. But yeah, I actually will probably do some posts soon about gravitational lensing, what it is, how it works, all that good jazz. we're going to give it another 10 minutes. Just hearing any jumps in the chat to say hello and has any questions about Freemasonry. Pay attention to, I'm going to be posting a lot of content tonight, actually. So, yeah, I hope that you guys will join. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing and if there is anything you want to talk about. One quote I always liked: your mindset shapes reality. Change the way you think, they'll change the world," which is true, but it can be hard. I mean, minds are tricky things when it comes to changing people's minds and opinions, right? Unfortunately, or I mean, fortunately, but people can be stubborn. Welcome. If you're just joining us, this is Square and Compass Promotions. I do these streams every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about Freemasonry. Today I was talking about the ways I think the big, beautiful bill in the States, if it passes, could potentially affect Freemasonry, why Freemasons should care about it, and also gravitational lensing, what that is and why it's so important to keep in mind. We'll give another 7-8 minutes. We'll see if anybody else jumps on. I may be doing some more. I'll be definitely posting some more content tonight, so I hope you guys will check that out. Have you ever heard the term a hot egg sandwich? Our fellow Crouchy Woods counselor today is a senior one. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Dad. Yeah, that would definitely result in canceling the degree. I'm sorry to hear that, though. Have you heard the term Freemason? And if so, what are your thoughts on what it means? Speaking of curved light, from the occultist. Greetings from Norway, says Hakon. I don't know if I've had anybody from Norway on the stream before. I don't remember if you've been on the stream before. Thank you so much for being here, Hakon. I hope you will hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know if you have any questions. Legend has a question. I'm sure you are legendary. By all means, ask away. As for the term Freemason, if I recall correctly, it is child of light, children of light, something to that effect. If I certainly, you know, or children of the sun, if that's correct, occultist. Let me know if I'm right about that. I can look up more because I don't know much about it, like what precisely it means. I'll have to look in and check that out. Legend, feel free to ask your question. I'll do my best to answer. Hakon, thank you for being here. It's great to have you in from Norway. I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know what your thoughts are. And I will, maybe that might be fun because it's not something I know a ton about, honestly, occultist, Freemason. So I have to look it up online and do a bit more of a search on what exactly it means. Let me see. It's not something, it looks like it might be something more from co-masonry, to my understanding, as opposed to which co-masonry is a type of Freemasonry, don't get me wrong, but as opposed to Freemasonry itself. Legend, if you have your question, I'd love to hear it. Let me know what it might be and how you're doing. And please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button if you get the chance. And let me know what your question is Norway, wonderful to have you. An occultist, let me know how your bacon and egg sandwich is because it sounds delicious. I love bacon and egg sandwiches. I feel like, and this is just me, I don't think there's any, I've never been part of a contest or competition, but I think I make pretty good bacon and egg sandwiches personally. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Actually, no, it starred, maybe I should have been more clear because there's probably a couple of those movies. Um, Dangerous Minds starring Michelle Pfeiffer, which has one of my favorite quotes. I'm not 100% sure. I think I drew chapter 6 in the Zohar. Whenever I see that, I always think of don't mess with the Zohan, but not too sure. I will try to look into it some more and see if I can find some possible answers. And if I can, I'll let you know. Yes, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know who Elvira Hancock is. I don't know if she was one of the other actresses in that movie. Um, I like that movie though. I like the fact that they reference Dylan, Bob Dylan. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man is a great song. One of my favorites. Bob Dylan in general is one of my favorites. Very underrated, very underappreciated. Okay, so that's I thought of Byron Hancock because I've never seen Scarface. So I've never seen it before. So I know the quotes obviously. Say hello to my little friend. Um, but I thought Elvira Hancock was actually like just the name of an actress. When I think of Elvira, I think of Elvira from the horror movie queen, the horror movie icon, who I think everybody my age, if you loved horror movies as much as I do, you grew up with a bit of a crush on Elvira. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're just joining us. I'm one subscriber away from 2,140, so 2.14. And let me know how you're doing. And Legend, you said you had a question. If you still do, because I don't know if I will be on this stream for too much longer, so this might be your last chance. That's a pretty decent egg marketing. That's a pretty decent egg marketing plan. If you gotta market eggs, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Rosalie, I have no idea what BBG even means. I feel feel like it's something dirty. I don't know why, but I feel like it's something dirty. However, you know what? If you hit the like and subscribe button, Rosalie, I will be. You can call me whatever you so desire, but you gotta hit the like and subscribe button. Rosalie, it's not. I have no idea what BBG means. CD, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. It's great to have you here. Whatever BBG is, just let me know and I'll see. I don't know. I've never heard that expression before, I don't think. Well, baby girl bro. I don't know what a baby girl bro is, but I mean, how about we just for now, just hit the like and subscribe button. It's the best. Well then, no, I cannot be your baby girl, though I appreciate the offer. And my bacon and egg sandwich was drippy. Yeah, well, that's the best kind of bacon and egg sandwich to have. Bacon and egg sandwiches would be, because you want the yolk to be runny, in my opinion. Although sometimes you can get the yolk too runny. This is a whole can of tuna we're opening up into now. The best way to cook an egg. I find if it's too runny, it's not good. You need it needs to be a little bit runny, but still somewhat maintains its shape. If I'm making any sense at all. I don't know. It's the best I can do. Please, if you're just joining us, though, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you will hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know how it's going. And if there's anything that you want to chat about. I was talking today before about the big, beautiful bill in the States, how it may or may not affect Freemasons, or why I think Freemasons should be concerned with it. Then I talked about gravitational lensing. And what that is, the James Webb Telescope, and why Freemasons should care about it. But thank you so much for being here, as always. I truly appreciate everybody who's joined, as I do every day. Tomorrow I'll be back on with another stream at 1 p.m. Eastern, and also I will have some more episodes and some more content being released tonight. So please do your best to, pay attention for that. Wait for that to pop up. Dippy eggs. Yes. Well, so dippy eggs are really good because I used to really like, I haven't done it for ages, but you do like a soft boiled egg. You open it up and then you dip your toast into it. That was always really good. It was called Egg and Soldiers, I think is what it was called. The toast, the toast sticks, which I always thought were awesome myself. So, there is that. By the way, I'm, moving us away from Freemasonry for a moment. I will just say, if you are like me, big scary movie fans, I just saw Smile 2. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, really great. So if you like scary movies like I do, watch Smile 2. It's funny how the algorithm works. I've been suggested a lot of Christian anti-Masonic. Yeah, I mean, well, because the algorithm is really funny. Obviously, it's proprietary, so YouTube isn't telling us how it works. But I think the algorithm it doesn't differentiate between good or bad. So if you're typing in Freemasonry or watching videos about Freemasonry, it's going to, anything that deals with Freemasonry, whether positive or negative, it will send to your feed. And there is some evidence it may actually prefer sending stuff that you will react to negatively. So if you're watching videos that are positive towards Freemasonry, it seems like one thing the algorithm may start to do is send you videos that are negative towards Freemasonry in order to try and get a reaction out of you in some cases. And even it goes down to something as simple as like if you're scrolling on Twitter, for example, or X, and you pause on a particular post, even if you don't read it or click on it, you just look at it for an extra second, or even you just stop scrolling and look out the window for a minute and then start scrolling again. Whatever it is you stopped at, it will send you more and more, tweets from that account or on this subject. So that is like the algorithm is down to like milliseconds of time. How many milliseconds do you spend looking at one particular piece of content? And if it's even a few milliseconds more, that's what you get more of, right? These algorithms are fascinating. There is a Peter Pan horror movie coming out lately. I do want to watch it myself. It's mostly AI nonsense. It is a lot of AI nonsense, but AI is a really interesting thing. I think what Freemasonry has to offer, or what AI has to offer Freemasonry, could be positive and could be negative. By the way, I've been suggesting to a lot of people that what we should do is look at, if possible, I've done some written work on artificial intelligence and Freemasonry. So if you get the chance to follow me on Medium, you can see the articles I've written about Freemasonry and artificial intelligence and why I think it presents an opportunity for Freemasonry. Not even that, just what AI says about Freemasonry and why it's important that we understand that. Colorful shorts. I feel like I'm together. Colorful shorts. I mean, I'm not gonna say I got my life perfectly together. That's a whole other can of tuna, but I like to think I got my life somewhat together. By the way, colorful shorts, one way you can help me get my life together is by hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button on this video. One way I get my life together is by relying on Masonic principles. So there is that, for whatever it's worth. But thank you everybody for joining. We got 8 people watching right now. The number seems to be going up a little bit, so maybe I'll stick around for a few more and see if anybody else joins. Let me know, Colorful Shorts, how your day is going. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments on Freemasonry. Maybe it already is. Who knows? If you can't tell the difference. I'm one of those people. I'm much more AI, I guess, supportive than I think a lot of other people. I recognize that there are dangers to it, but there seems to be a lot of dangers that exist towards, people. I think people have a track record that would indicate that, have a track record that should indicate we're not so great ourselves. So, I would keep that in mind. I don't know if humans have necessarily the best, I don't know if human beings are in necessarily the best position to judge any other form of intelligence or be scared of any other form of intelligence based on our track record and our history. But who knows? Maybe it already is. If it's not, I suspect it'll be soon. I suspect it will be within my lifetime, that it'll become conscious. But then you also have to define conscience. What does it mean for something to be conscious, right? That's a whole other question. Because I don't know if that's a super simple answer, what it means for something to be conscious. Thank you, everybody who is joining. And then the question is, and I've asked this question before, if Freemasonry, if AI becomes conscious, and people accept the fact that it is a conscious entity, would you allow an artificial intelligence to join a Masonic lodge? What would that even look like? I think that's worth the question in and of itself. I hope everybody is doing well. Please, I hope you take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. Rondo, actually, what I've done, I'm going to share Rondo with you, and I hope that you will follow me on Medium. a article I wrote with that very subject about utilizing LLM for researching Masonic. I've asked that question too. But spirit, why? What if it's aliens, right? I've asked that question too. An alien lands on Earth, says it wants to join a Masonic lodge. What do you say? I might say yes. But I'm going to, Rondo, share with you my researches on LLMs and Freemasonry. Oops. I was really I thought this was a really good article or story that I wrote. Let me just share it here. If you click on that link, you'll find an article or a Medium story I wrote where I asked LLMs, several different LLMs, a series of questions about Freemasonry to get its answers. And you're right, LLMs right now are keeping our secrets. Whether they will continue to keep our secrets or not, I wonder. I wrote that article, Rondo, and then I wrote, oops. I could find it now. Oh, for heaven's sakes, this computer's being challenging. Okay. So I did one for LLMs, for large language models, and then I did one as well where I looked at artificial intelligence image generation. And I wrote prompts and I said, create images based on the following prompts. Some of those prompts included Freemasonry, like the word Freemasonry, Freemasons, current company's promotions. I'm going to share that with you as well. And once again, I hope that you can check out that link. So that was for both LLMs and image generating AIs. But Spirit, I know this is going to sound like a funny question, but I don't want it to be. I'm trying to ask as seriously as I can on a topic that is probably more humorous. But what do you mean by, why would you rather all humans in your lodge, right? What is it about humans that you think make them unique to be Freemasons, as opposed to either an artificial intelligence that is conscious, or even, let's say, an alien life form that lands on Earth and is interested in joining? Because I say the more the merrier, but The link came through but doesn't seem to be clickable. Sometimes that happens. You might be able to do it by copying and pasting, or you can also contact me at and I can respond with the link. If you can click on that one. If not, it does. I mean, like I said, if you can click on those links, Rondo, let me know if you can click on those links and what you, if you can't click, because it does give interesting responses. Another option is maybe if you go to Google, I know it depends on the algorithm, but if you go to Google, type in square and compass medium AI. If I type those things in, it does pop up my Medium articles. So it might be something there. So you say Spirit is for men only, right? Well, I mean, maybe, and you have to define men, right? So certainly the typical Masonic Lodge is a fraternity. I don't want to, I never want to ignore either the Order of Women Freemasons or our Eastern Star family, which includes women in Freemasonry, or even Rainbow. But yeah, when people think of my Masonic Lodge, it's, you have to be a man to join. But then the question is, what if you have an alien come down to shoot. Well, you can contact me again. PS square and compass / contact. So you can probably copy and paste just that in, and I will send you by email the links to check it out. And LLMs did have some fascinating viewpoints on the answers to those questions, as like what is Freemasonry, what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, etc., etc. Well, now you expose its spirit, so now we're in trouble. But so let's say an alien lands on Earth and it says, I am on my planet, I am what would be equivalent to the male of the species, right? I don't give birth to offspring. I impregnate. Parallelly speak, in terms of parallels, on my planet, I would be what is considered the male of the species. Would that be sufficient to let the alien join? Or does it have to not be a male, but rather a human man, right? Because you wouldn't let like a male cat join. Though maybe we should. Cats are wonderful. Or, and then you look at an LLM, a large language model, or a conscious artificial intelligence. Let's say this artificial intelligence that is conscious says, I feel as though I am male. I feel as though my gender is male. Would you accept that as as being a man? Or does man imply human? And if so, is it worth changing that ever if it comes to a point where we start to get some of these other possibilities? But shoot, Rhonda, I wish you could check it out because it is really fits into what you were saying. Well, if you maybe, I can't make any promises. Goodbye, Dad. Thank you for being here. Can't find it now. Let me see. Oops. Control F. We trying to find it. It did that with me too. Yeah, I asked all these different LLMs. I said, "Would you want to join Freemasonry?" And it said, "I'm not human, so I couldn't." I asked if it made it sad. It said it doesn't have feelings, but it said some very interesting things, which I think are worth exploring more. But just trying to track down. All right, so maybe if you type this into Google, you can copy and paste this. My article might pop up. So just Google, type and paste that, copy and paste that, see if it works. That's interesting. I wonder if they would or not. Certainly, I think robots or AI would. I wonder if aliens would or not. Maybe aliens evolved in such a way that their brains are completely different and memorization is not really something they're capable of in the same way that we are. Maybe they have a whole different system, right? That's the other point. Would they understand not even just Masonic stuff, but just like would they understand what it means to pay dues? Would they understand what a summons is? What do you put down for their address on the application form? What is their contact information? How old are they? Maybe the aliens are, because, in Ontario, you have to be 21 years of age. Maybe the alien evolved in such a way that, it's like dog or cat years. Like it would be, born in, it would age at a rate of like 5 years for every 1 year we age. Do you count it as the date it was born or as the date it would be biologically as compared to us? Would it understand the concept of a supreme being? Would it have that concept? I mean, it would be fascinating to have to delve into all these questions. If there are any aliens watching this, as this is being recorded and radio is being sent out into space, I hope that you make a detour here and come visit us at Windsor Lodge, and we can see about sorting all these things out. I mean, there are people and religions on Earth that have negative views of Freemasonry. What would an alien think of it? Would an alien understand the concept of fraternal relationships or social groupings like that? It would be absolutely fascinating. But within that fascination, I think worth exploring. I think exploring things like that helps us expand our mind to the different possibilities of Freemasonry and what it is and how it can operate. What if the alien was the trope from, do you mean like it's actually just humans have evolved, or like, well, the original ape, the whole point was it was actually Earth that had been destroyed, and the apes had evolved over time, but it was actually the planet Earth, right? That's the trope, if I recall correctly. I was never big into the Planet of the Apes movies, so. Well, but we blew it up, right? In the original Planet of the Apes, we blew it up. That was kind of the point. So, I don't want to blow up the planet. I hope we don't blow up the planet, though the way we're going, who knows? Well, I hope the aliens don't blow up the planet. I think let's not be unnecessarily negative. Let's just see what happens. You know, I'm kind of the same way I am when it comes to robots. Like, I don't think human beings have any right to cast suspicions or aspersions on any other species if they exist or any other aliens. We've been plenty violent ourselves, so there's no reason to assume that you know, w- w- let's get our own house in order before we worry about the intentions of any alien life forms. That's just my opinion, though. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I truly appreciate it. I hope that you will please take a moment to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I will be back on tomorrow 1 p.m. Also, though, in the interim, please take a moment to tune back in tonight at 6 p.m. I've got some more content coming out, which is going to be great, talking about a very important historical figure in Freemasonry. And as always, follow me along on all my different channels for everything I'm doing, and follow me on Medium. I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you once again can just type into Google. We asked AI about Freemasonry. Here's what it said: Square and Compass, Medium, and it should pop up. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to everybody later. Exactly. So yeah, let's not, as Rondo says, let's not judge aliens too harshly. Let's keep in mind that we maybe aren't so great all the time ourselves.